a bonus episode of chatting and learning from quantum physics with Leonardo Moran. We were talking in the last episode about this example of the gift, the example the monk gave to this hater with the gift, right? On how a lot of haters or a lot of people that just criticize and just want to share their hatred with others, and when you don't accept it, when you don't react to it, you let them keep that entire energy, right? It's insane. And I feel like I identify myself with the monk a lot in that example, because sometimes people criticize me because, yeah, again, as I said, I'm like an odd person. I do things that people are like, oh my God, you're so crazy. But those things that make me happy. It's like, I remember not too long ago, I was going out with one guy and we got into this fight, whatever. And then my sisters were like, oh, it's because you are always, Mariana, like jumping up and down and you're too crazy and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I'm not going to change who I am. And still to this day, even though I want a family, at what cost do I want one? Even though I want a partner, at what cost will I give that? And if I have to change my authenticity, what makes me so special, because I have friends, I have people that love me, I have so many things to shine on my own. Why would I take somebody criticizing me and telling me, oh no, we don't like this, or I don't like this about you, or you have to change? I won't do it, because it won't make me happy. And then I would be a miserable person, as many in this world, facing a miserable life. And I feel like we, as you've mentioned before, we create our own reality. What do you choose to keep? Like, what emotion do you keep to choose? Like the example that you gave about your dad and your son asking you, why are you not crying? It's like you're thankful that this happened. And I think it's a choice of emotions that we have in our power. How do we react to different realities? How do we react to different situations? And talking about this, it reminded me of something that happened at work. I don't know, it was last year or 2 years ago. One lady was a total bitch towards me. No reason to do that. Even my boss jumped in like on top of that email, and he was like, I'm sorry, I told her to do it. Like, what's her problem? And when we had our meeting, I was like, what a bitch. And I was just like laughing my ass off. And my boss was like, well, I'm glad that you take it that way. I'm like, well, I didn't do anything wrong. I was helping her, but she is the unhappy one. She's a one acting like a total bitch. Like, I don't care. And she was like, it's good that you do that, because a lot of people would be like crying if they receive an email like that. I'm like, no, like, I don't care. And that's it, right? I don't give energy towards that. And then I'm not going like being mad the rest of the day, or like mad at home, or like mad and telling my friends. Like, I don't give energy to that.
Yeah. And exactly that, because like many people, if people would understand that you're reacting in a bad way, being mad or being sad, what kind of chemicals your body is releasing. And at the same time, those chemicals will generate, feelings, and these feelings will generate same thoughts, and these same thoughts will generate more chemicals and more, like feelings, and you get into this loop, and you get into like, waking up 2 days after and remembering that and feeling that and thinking that, and all over again. And now, if you really understood that those chemicals are also causing harm in your body and causing disease in your body, why do people have, some cancers and some stuff? Because they hold this grudge, and they hold that, and then like, oh my gosh, Patty was a really nice girl. She died of breast cancer, and she was so happy. It's like, she wasn't happy. You know what I mean? You don't know what was going inside her marriage or whatever. Yeah, everybody puts this face of happiness, but you don't know what's happening in closed doors, because they're eating up those emotions.
Yeah.
So number one is like, if you learn not to react, if you learn to really know what those chemicals can do to your immune system and your body, you wouldn't be, you wouldn't be doing that. And now that you know that, you have now the ability to like analyze and say, okay, why did I have the sickness? How have I been thinking? What are my mental conversations? How
Yeah.
am I reacting to everything? And say, you know what? Starting now, I'm not going to react this way. Starting now, these limiting thoughts or negative mental conversations, I'm going to change because now I'm aware of what I am really doing and creating in my body. And that is happening a lot, when we follow, people like Joe Dispenza and other doctors that are doing these type of practices and these types of advice. Many of the people who are going to these meetings and meditations and stuff like that are having, their sickness reverse because
Mhm.
they're finding that their emotions are a key to what they're having. And even not even going so far, you might have like this toothache, or you might have this like headache, constant headache or something like that. And if you're able to just accept the pain and not fight the pain, and oh my God, it's the pain. It's something, because when you're like out of, when you're sleeping and you're not even aware of that pain, is when you wake up and your mind gets up and says like, oh, where's the pain? Oh, there it is.
Where is it?
You know? So when we're unconscious, that pain doesn't even exist because that pain is part of the mind. And now if we go back to, like what we were talking on the first episode, where matter doesn't exist, everything is mind. So that pain resides somewhere in your mind. And if you're able to accept the pain, you're going to see that that pain is going to go away. It is going to go away. Sometimes when I do my meditations,
Mhm.
they'll tell me at the end, oh my gosh, I had this headache. I had this pain. Now I don't have it.
Totally.
Why? Because you relax so much, because I took you to this place where anything was possible and you just let go of it.
It's impressive, like how our bodies show us the reality that we can't see. And I feel like one something that I heard of a friend not too long ago, it was that she was going, I guess she didn't realize she was going through time in her life where she was, let's say, depressed. She was not able to identify it after a few months, after like a year or so. She was able to identify it, and now she's like getting, like therapy, and she's getting better. And I feel like she was able to take a decision that she didn't took before. It was like a thing that a decision that changed her life. And
Mhm.
she said, Mariana, I she was like, I hadn't had my period on like over a year and a half, but because she was using the I don't know, the one of the things that you put in there so you don't get pregnant, whatever, and like the periods
UT.
are rare. Yeah, one of those. So she was like, I didn't worry that much. But the thing is that, okay, she's been going through this rough patch. She was able to identify it. She's working on it. And then she took a decision that will change her life. She
Yeah,
was like, I made that decision. I took action on that decision. The next day, my period came.
absolutely.
And she was like, it's insane that I didn't know what it was going on, and I saw it as something normal. But the fact that that happened the day that after I took an action in that decision, it's insane. I was like, we were four friends sitting there, and we're like, no, like, how crazy that your body knew how much pain you were, or like how much you were suffering, or like whatever it was that was not good. Your
Yeah,
body was trying to show it to you somehow.
at the same time, even like talking about that, and we were talking about, relationships in the other episode,
Mhm.
even in dating, you know what I mean? Even in dating and sharing, intimacy and having sex, who are you sharing your energy with? You know what I mean? It's kind of like, are you just willing to share your energy with anybody? What kind of energy is that person bringing? Because at the end, we are energy,
Yeah.
and there's ways where, like, everybody usually concentrates, or at least in our society, about the external orgasm,
Mhm.
where there's just this release, an exterior release. And the woman could be like a clitoral orgasm, a
Mhm.
vaginal orgasm, and the man is just like, when the guy just comes, you know what I mean? And
Yes.
that's a release. But it's not like that, you know what I mean? The in reality, the function of a man is to charge energetically the woman, and there's steps to do that, you know what I mean? And then and then the function of the man in watching his energy, a man shouldn't have an exterior orgasm all the time.
Yeah.
It's not good for him, because what he's doing is he's really releasing all this energy instead of pushing that energy up to himself, having a body orgasm, having like a kundalini state, you know what I mean? Because what you're doing, if you're having an external orgasm all the time, you're just wasting that energy. In the females, when you talk about the period, every period that a woman has is a release of energy. So you're depleting that energy, every month,
Mhm.
or how many years, it's kind
Yeah.
of like the same way that a woman is depleting the menstrual period every month. A male, by having an exterior orgasm, is also depleting that energy. And
Mm.
there's a way to conserve that energy, multiply that energy, and there's exercises to maintain that energy. That's why when somebody has those practices and stuff like that, they look younger.
Yeah.
In a woman, their periods are less frequent or are less painful. But it's stuff that we don't get taught.
Yeah. No, not at all.
So it's another, if we're talking about energy, and we're talking about the importance of, watching our energy, sharing our energy, and how the thought process also is involved in that. There's a very, powerful way to manifest,
Mhm.
if you really can focus what you want as a couple in that orgasmic moment.
Yeah.
Because you're using your imagination, you're using that energy, and it's a very explosive moment, where even like when you're like meditating in a normal way and you want to push this energy into the world, you can do it, by in a natural way, but in an orgasm where you're like having this wave, this tsunami of energy. Wow, you know what I mean? Take advantage of that.
Yeah. So it's crazy because it's I've talked about it with friends about like the exchange of energy that you have. Yeah, when you have sex with somebody else or something. And it's I remember I used to date one guy and I was like, he's always taking my energy away, because he was like, he's the guy that literally crushed my heart. And he would show up every year and I would open, the doors of my heart and my life. And I'm like, hi. And he seemed like he was trying harder every time. And I fell every time for this. And last time that I saw him, I was like, no, not anymore. He's taking my energy. He's like, you can see that he needs the booster of energy. And he comes here, steals my
Yeah.
entire energy, because then after that, I'm depleted and like so sad again. And I'm like, no, I can't do this anymore. Like this guy's no longer in my life, but it took years for me to
Yeah.
kind of like realize this.
Yeah.
So but I also have other friends who are going out and they say, okay, I go out few times with this guy and I gotta see if that works. So they go out and, like they have sex. So it's like, I guess it's a very thin line on where you can let that energy go, because out of curiosity, like my friend, like the example that I was talking about, my friends, they're like, I need to make sure that this area also works, but they are not fully sure if they want to be with this guy, because that could be a deal breaker. But
Yeah.
still, I guess you're giving your energy away still.
Well, the thing is also that, like, one thing is to have sex, and one thing is to manage your energy.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're thinking, oh my gosh, a deal breaker is if I have an exterior orgasm, or if I can have, a multiple orgasm, but that has nothing to do with, with energy. That has nothing to do with conservation of energy or boosting of energy, or having your sexual partner charge you as a battery. You know what I mean? Because the whole idea that the same way that your partner can charge you, you can return that energy to him. There's ways to do that. But everybody in this society is more concentrated on an external orgasm.
Yeah, for sure.
I have no clue of what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Has like no clue. So a deal breaker is not just having, an assurance that I can have an orgasm. Because me as a male, as a conscious male, I can be with my couple, with my partner or whatever, and say, you know what? I'll have sex with her every single night, but I will not have an external orgasm every single night.
Okay.
Usually it's kind of like there's a table that says that if you are younger than 20,
okay,
you can have an external orgasm like every 4 or 5 days, not every day. You can have sex every day, but you shouldn't have an external orgasm every day. If you're older than 30, then it's like every week. If you're older than 40, every 15 days. If you're older than 50, every month. Okay? So but it's not saying that I'm not having sex.
mm-hmm.
And I'm having my partner have multiple orgasms.
Yeah.
Charging her. And I'm having an internal orgasm, not an external orgasm.
Okay.
Which is like, it's kind of like Chinese to some people, but there are many books, there's many books where they talk about it. Even in like this book that everybody knows about, this Think and Grow Rich,
mm-hmm.
by Napoleon Hill.
Okay.
In this book, it's like from the 1900s, 1916 probably. Chapter 11 is called The Transmutation of Sexual Energy. And this book is about like the thought process, but a lot about the thought process and finances, Okay. And there's a chapter that's dedicated to the transmutation of the sexual energy.
That's crazy, because I feel like a lot of people don't see that, right? As you say, like a lot of people are so focused on having just pleasure for the night that they don't care if that's energy that it's being wasted away and going away. And it's funny because whenever I see people that are like too worried about that, too worried about like external things, are the ones that suffer the most.
Yeah.
Are the ones that are like most unhappy, most insecure, and
but if we're having an honest conversation, no, and I'm gonna be really honest, really brutally honest, if we talk about, like male satisfaction, where does a male learn that? Porn. And nobody taught a male how to have sex. You know what I mean? They just watch porn and get high on porn, and they see that, oh my God, they're really good. This like, boom, blast. You know what I mean? And that's why, like sometimes somebody's with a woman and they think, oh, I'm gonna just do it really fast. And like the woman is like, well, wait a second, like, like you might be coming, but what about me?
Exactly. Yeah.
But you haven't even touched the door, what's going on,
Totally.
And there's books, this author, Mantak Chia, that he talks about, the sex energy and sex according to Tao.
Mm-hmm.
The woman has several gates.
Mm-hmm.
And the first gate for the woman is to have a clitoral orgasm, meaning with a tongue, meaning with fingers, meaning with whatever. That is the first gate. Why? Because if you're not able to give that to the woman, meaning that you can't penetrate a woman right away, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's not going to be, lubed or anything. She's not going to be excited. The tissue in her inside is not going to be, full of blood,
Yeah.
So that's the first gate. Then the second gate is introducing the fingers, looking for that spot, and massaging that spot so that whole area gets ready to receive,
Yeah.
And then the third gate is having the penetration. But it takes a while. It doesn't take, okay, well, now go to sleep because you finished. And the woman's like, what happened here? And many times, the problem is the woman, because she doesn't say what she wants.
And it's so true. And I feel like after that, it's like,
and she's so worried that he comes.
yes, no, I hear I hear you so much, because I'm like, I see even in myself, like I see, and I've seen with my friends, so many girls are like unsatisfied. They're like, oh, he doesn't do this or he doesn't do that. And I want it. And it's like, but do you talk about it? Do you actually ask for it? And I've talked with, I think, male friends as well. And they say, yeah, but sometimes the girl doesn't say anything. Sometimes the guy could think that he's doing an amazing job, maybe because he doesn't honestly know. Maybe another one doesn't care. Like, you don't know. But if you, the woman, doesn't talk about what you want, about what you need, then how do you expect that to be done? Like, people cannot read people's minds. And I was telling the story to a friend the other day, and it's like, okay, yeah, I saw this guy and this is happening. And I was like, I want this to happen. And this is it. I don't like it. I don't care. I want it. Like, you gotta speak. Like,
Yeah.
The way that I see that now, when before I would keep my mouth shut and not say anything, for example, or again, be worried that he's perfect, but then you have yourself completely unsatisfied. It's that nowadays, if I meet someone, I will speak to what I want, to what I like. Why? Because that's what I want in my life. And if they don't like it, then this is not going to work. And I feel like it goes about communication, but not everyone does it.
Exactly. And that's, and then number two is, do you know yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know yourself as a woman? Have you touched yourself everywhere?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell somebody what you like?
Exactly.
If you don't know yourself, you haven't touched yourself, you haven't explored yourself, then how can you tell somebody what you like? It starts with you. It starts with you knowing exactly, what? Right there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
This way, hey, Tommy, that's wrong. This way.
Tommy, no, not that way. No.
That doesn't work.
Exactly.
But and in that sense, we're just talking about saying, okay, when we want to have an external orgasm. Okay. But it's not about just having an external orgasm. It's about also having an internal orgasm and managing that energy to, when you don't have an external orgasm, you're able to push all that energy up. It's brain is going up to your pineal gland. That's where, the ideas come from.
Yes.
When the creativity comes from. So it's very important. The thing is, like, we don't learn about this. We don't learn about this in school. Nobody teaches you. When did you go to school? They say, oh, you have to be careful. There's a condom. That's it.
It's like, not even, I think. It's like, yeah, that exists. Use it. Bye-bye. Like, look how they kill kids.
Like, we're going to have a lesson about how to caress a woman.
No. The education, as you said, it's important. And I feel like, yeah, you have men out there that are just like going like to put it in, and that's it, because that's what they're looking for. And I feel like it's so much more about that. For example, I also I had a friend who told me a story about how, for whatever reason, like they couldn't, let's say, have sex, and they treated that opportunity as, let's get to know each other. And she was like, I had never done that. And it was such a great exercise, in the sense, like, I don't know, he touched my arm, I touched his arm, and it was like a lot of things going on. And she was like, I had never experienced that before, because I feel like even nowadays, or even now more, nowadays more, if people are just going straight to the point. They're like, oh, hi, how are you? Kisses here. And then that happens. And yes, some people attach to it, because I know a lot of people that they're like, no, once I sleep with someone, I attach immediately. And then maybe they ghosted the other person. They're like, okay, I don't want to see you anymore. So it's like, and I've heard that for women, it's way more important, this act, than for men. Women usually get attached to that person once that happens. And the guy's like, this was as good as some fries from McDonald's. I'll have more some later. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
what was the question?
No, I was going to say, like, what do you think is a key for, I don't know, people that are, let's say, are dating, or like in relationships? What is the key to kind of like you maintain your, besides what you said, no, like guys maintaining their energy for themselves and maybe not coming every time and just like charging the women, but what else could you say that can bond that person, like, I guess, that relationship more?
I think you need to know each other. You need to talk about it. You need to talk about more than sex. You know what I mean? You can't just have like we're having a dinner and, oh no, there's dessert.
Yeah.
No, because if you want a long-term relationship, you need to know that person. You need to like be with somebody that you can share other things, other moments, which inspires you, which you admire, which you like say, wow, let's go for a walk and see the sunset or sunrise.
Yeah.
Or I want to be with somebody that's going to lift me up.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that's, you know what, Mariana, if you're with me, I'm going to do everything possible to make you feel that you can conquer the world. I want to see you, like, what are your passions? What are your desires? What would you really want to do in life? Do you want to do something? Do you want to do something? How can I help you?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Not somebody that's going to say, hey, no, now you're with me, and no, we just cook, and I don't want you talking with anybody else.
No. I laugh again because I feel like with all of your examples, I'm like, I've been there. And I think it was last year, I found a guy and he would cook for me a lot. And I was like, a friend recently asked me, but what do you see in this guy? I'm like, I knew he had tons of red flags and I literally fold them and put them away. Why did I do that? I have no idea, but I did it. I know that. And I was like, but he fed me. He cooked for me so many times. And it was nice. So it was like nice to be taken care of in some, like in a way that nobody did it for me before. But at the same time, he was like, I don't want you to be talking with anybody else. Say that to me. Like, do you know me? Like, since day one, you have a pretty good idea of who I am. And that's a request that I cannot,
Yeah.
like, I'm sorry. It's not who I am.
Especially, we're not talking about you like we're like 19, you know what I mean? You already have like a way of being, and a way that you like, I'm not washing any more underwears,
Exactly. Totally.
like
Totally.
you like really, you need to know me, you need to like understand where we are. And number two, I don't need to make my woman jealous. I need the other woman to admire my woman.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's my goal. I don't want my woman jealous of me. I don't believe in jealousy. I believe that the other woman say, oh my gosh, how lucky she is to be with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the idea. You're there for her. You're there for, like pushing her up.
Yeah.
No?
And I feel like that's key. I mean, before, so the path in love for me has been a long one in the sense that before I looked for happiness in somewhere else, right? Always. I was like, who's going to give me the happiness that I need? Because of course I didn't have it. So it's crazy how you look for other people to give you that you cannot give yourself. But years ago, I realized, okay, I have to be happy on my own. And I found happiness being by myself and everything. Being here in Canada, I've been like 7 years on my own. And I'm a completely different person from who I was back when I was like 19, 20, and to even who I was last year. And today it's funny because sometimes, like, let's say I meet a guy and he's not texting me every day. For me, it's fine. Like, yeah, I mean, hi, it's okay sometimes, but I'm like, I don't want anyone bothering me every day. Like, I have so many things to do, so many things to achieve. I have to see my friends. I need time for myself. And yes, at the beginning, I would love to see someone, I don't know, once a week, and that he has his own life. I have my own life. We admire each other. We are a team. We support each other when we need to. But at the beginning, I don't want someone promising the world, promising me the world like we used to do in Latin America. Like, oh, sweetie, do you want the moon? I will give it to you. Do you want the sun? I will give it to you. How did my queen wake up? I don't need that. Like, I don't want it. And some of my friends are like, what are you looking for then? I'm like, a teammate. I
Yeah.
don't need someone to come here and change my life. I have a life of my own. Like,
Yeah.
and I feel like the thing is that it's hard to find that person. But in my mind, it's like once I find that person, that person that it's a team with you, I feel like it would be perfect. You can meet at a level where my theory is you have your own world. As you said, we're not 20 anymore. Like,
Well, but
um,
each one of you is creating their own reality.
mhm.
You know what I mean? So we go back to like the other way of thinking is that we're all separate beings and we depend and codependent. No, you are creating your own reality. Some people say, how do I do to get this specific person in my life? I want this person. And I'm like, then love yourself so much that there's no other choice for this person to not love you. Because if you're depending on him to love you, that's never going to happen because you're so needy, and you're just from the point of view of thinking that you're going to lose him or you're not going to be with you. So what are you putting out there? You're putting that
Exactly.
frequency. You're just saying that there's some reason why he is not going to be with you, and you're collapsing the wave into those possibilities that he's not going to want to be with you. So, and first of all, no, you need to know yourself. You need to know what you want, and don't worry about pleasing him. It's going to come as a bond. It's going to come as a whole mutual thing. But you can't be just not worrying about yourself or your needs,
Mm-hmm.
thinking that if he's not satisfied, then he's gonna leave.
Exactly. I feel like that's crazy. But
Yeah,
that's the
and
way that we think, right?
And I've been there, I've been there when, I've been with somebody, when I'm practicing what I practice, and they're like, but you didn't come. There's something wrong? You don't like me? Like, no, I'm conserving my energy. You know what I mean? I came in, like, no, what I mean? It's that way, it's.
But I feel like we don't know that, right? Like, I mean, I feel like I'm learning that with you, because as women, yeah, we think you didn't come. What happened? What, didn't I do my job? Like, why? And then you feel like, what if you don't text that person the next day? It's like, it's because I didn't make it.
It's kind of like, women don't know. Like, do you know what a yoni egg is?
Yes.
Okay, women should use the yoni egg every single day or week to practice. You know what I mean? They should, because that's closing their vaginal entrance, and it's kind of like, not just because of pleasure, it's also closing it for that energy not to go down there and be released. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, I'm running AC and I have a door wide open,
Yeah.
But if you close that entrance, and also the pelvic, that pelvic movement, and like that squeeze that you do, like when you're going to close to, like, to pee, that whole area, you have to, every single day, you have to practice that.
So I've been thinking about buying that egg, because I'm always like, oh, I'll buy it, but I have not buy it. I will buy it.
You have to.
I need to close that door on that AC.
And you'll see that you're gonna feel younger, because you're not wasting that energy.
Mm.
You're not wasting that energy. You're closing the door. You're sealing the AC from coming out. You know what I mean?
That's amazing. I didn't know that. But yeah, no, for sure. I mean, as a woman, if that happens to me with a guy, I would be like, what did I do wrong? And again, if you don't text me the next day, I would be like going into a loophole of like craziness. I mean, now I've learned to identify when my ego, again, it's trying to control me and I'm falling into this loophole of like negative thoughts. But yeah, I mean, we don't know that. Like, I don't think anyone knows that.
No,
because
we're not. People learn sex from porn.
Mm-hmm.
Men and women.
Have you seen this? She is I think she's like a YouTuber lady from Spain, and it's called Más Allá del Orgasmo.
Maybe, I'm not sure, but I have a lot of, I follow a lot of people.
It's, so in English, it's Beyond the Orgasm. And she talks about a lot, like she talks a lot about sex, but in a way of how you can be at peace with yourself. She recommends this egg. She gives a course on this egg and how it can improve your, like, not only your sexual life, but like get to know you and your energy. She also did a course on, that in porn they teach you to squirt. Like, it's like, oh yeah, girls can squirt, and so many people don't even know what that is. So she called it, the course, she called it sacred water, because she's like, it's not squirt, it doesn't come out like a fountain, no, and she did an entire like class on that, like an entire course. She had videos of ladies that were there, and she's like, this is how you touch it. It was completely educational, and it was amazing to kind of like see it from another way. And she was like, stop being taught by porn, because it doesn't teach you what you need to know. And she's all about connecting, right? So what you're saying, it's about connecting with your partner, connecting with yourself. And I think that's great. But again, not everyone knows that.
Yeah.
And it's how can you keep your energy to yourself? And for example, in the dating world, I feel like for me, it's funny, because at some point, so last year, as I told you, it was this guy who was like cooking for me a lot, and he's like, don't talk to anyone else, and change the way that you speak, change this. And it's like, I'm sorry. Like, I mean, we had a fight, it didn't work. And after that, I was completely blocked. And I met a few guys here and there, and I was like, I don't know. I don't see this going anywhere. So like, bye. And it's funny because as crazy as it sounds, I met this guy and he was super nice. And one day he gave me a kiss and I could felt, Leonardo, how something in my body just boom, went down. And I'm like, oh, that's my shield. What happened with my shield? If I don't have my shield, how do I protect myself? Right?
Mhm.
So I kept going out with this guy and I was like, okay, he's nice. And I was like, yeah, no, I trust you and everything. And then he vanished. First time that somebody like ghosts me like that. And it was this guy. And I'm like, what a bitch. Like my shield just came off because of that guy. He disappeared. But after that, I feel like I take everything as a learning. And after that, I feel like now if I go out with guys and I'm like, I have nothing to lose. My shield is gone. I know if I want to put my energy there or not. And I see it in a complete different lens, you know, like I expect nothing. I don't believe anything anymore. I'm like, I don't expect anything. And if it comes around, I'm surprised. And I'm like, okay, let me be here. But I'm not giving my energy all the time like I used to before. And I feel like somehow it's better. If it works or if it doesn't work, I don't care right now. But I mean, on a day to day, the way that I act, the way that my mind is working, it's completely different than before.
Yeah.
And it's because all of this things that happen. But
Yeah.
but
But
for
imagine
me,
now that you know more stuff, you know,
yes.
and I would say like, what's the name of the book? Let me see if I have the 1 second. Huh? Let me see. I have the book here. Yeah, this is the male version of it. Okay, I have the male.
Taoist Secrets of Love, Cultivating Male Sexual Energy. Okay, so there's one for women, I guess.
There's one for women. There's one for women, and it's
Okay.
it's a must read. You know what I mean? It's a must read. It has all the exercises for, you know, vaginal, for ovaries, for, you know what I mean? Like, you don't do it, you know, like that's when people say, oh, hey, Mariana, how do you look so young, you know? You used to have like 1 or 2 wrinkles. Now you don't have anything. What cream are you using?
I'm getting that egg right now.
No cream at all. Like, what are you doing? Well, I have this.
Just this fabulous.
You know,
No,
so
but it's crazy. No, you'll have to send me that book. And I mean the name so I can like.
I'll send you the link exactly where you can get it. No?
That's
Yeah.
amazing. But yeah, I feel like we need to know always, and especially in relationships, where to put our energy. And as we were talking about, I know we were talking about like couples and everything, but it reminded me of this friend. I'm the kind of friend that it's like telling you all the time. Oh wait, I just realized that I can see all of my lights.
Can't see you.
And why? I forgot. Oh my God. So my friend, so I'm the typical friend that it says, hey Leonardo, let's hang out. And if you're like, I can't, I'm busy, at some point, I'm like, you know what? I always warn them. This is the last time that I ask you to hang out. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm sorry. So I did this to a friend. I do that to every friend that it's like, oh, I'm busy. I'm like, okay, whatever. So like, do you think I'm not busy? I'm like one of the busiest people among my friends. And you're going to tell me that you're busy? Like, no. So I remember this friend, I told her this like 2 years ago. I was like, this is the last time that I tell you to hang out. And after that, like, she was like, okay, Mariana, let's hang out. One day we start seeing each other again. And we are so connected right now. And she was at my place on during the weekend. And she's like, I'll text you tomorrow. She's not a texter, but now she's more of a texter. So she's like, I'll text you tomorrow because now I can't leave it. I cannot live without you. And she's like, you made it that way that I cannot live without speaking to you. And I'm like, this is hilarious. I'm like, that's my trick. That's what I try to do with everyone. And I guess it works that way with, again, relationships, on how independent that you are. And again, what can you offer to yourself and what can you offer to the other person? Because I feel like, as I said, like when I talk about teammates, it's more about how can you meet and lift both of yourselves up and not drain others' energy, right?
Yeah.
So what do you, huh?
Go ahead.
Now I was gonna say, so what do you think it's a, I don't know, in your past relationships or that you have learned, what has been the thing that has taught you the most, or like how to keep a perfect, sane and calm, peaceful, relationship?
Love yourself, not depend on the love of somebody. When I'm going out with somebody, I say, look, number one, don't feel that I need to love you to be happy. Just love yourself and I'll be happy. It's gonna be a compliment. It's gonna be something, mutual. So I'm not gonna be like hanging over and say, do you love me? You love me? Are you sure you love me? You love me? You love me? Why? Are you sure you love me? Like, am I doing anything right? Like, no, don't try to buy my love. Just be happy that you are yourself. And you can, and what can we do together to grow, to help? That's number one, and number two is kind of like try to find a conscious partner. You know what I mean? What are you looking in life? What are you looking in? If you're just looking for somebody just to have an exterior orgasm, anybody can do that.
Yeah, anybody.
Just hire a porn star. You know what I mean?
No, totally. And now with like this dating apps, like anyone that's down, like how they call it, DTF.
But and it's so important. It's your mind, your thought process, what kind of frequencies you want. Even like in the world, the way you're vibrating. Somebody say, oh, the way you're vibrating is going to attract something. For example, I think we talked last time. I don't know, like this thing here. You know what this thing is? No. This is like a fork, and this fork here is. Let's see if it's 528. 528. So if I have this and I have room and a table that have like 20 of these forks, but each one with a different vibrate with a different frequency. Okay. If I hit this fork, no, I don't know if you can hear it. Yeah. Okay. So, but if I hit this fork and I take it to the table where all these other forks of frequencies are, the only fork that's going to instantly vibrate by itself is a 528. Okay. This fork that is vibrating is going to make that fork vibrate by itself. Without touching it. You touch one and the other one's okay. Without touching it. Okay. And that's how things work in life too. You're going to attract the same frequency, the same vibration. And that's what happens, in a relationship when you want something. And one thing that we didn't talk about is that I try to say, like, never say I want something, never say I need something, never say I desire something, because when you're saying that, you're saying that you don't have it. So in that, write down that you're grateful for having it, and what are the consequences of having that, and feel the happiness of that it already happened. I call it like a memory from the future. Exactly. Yeah, no, I remember from the Spanish one that you were mentioning that we can't say, oh, I would love to have this. It's like it already happened. You're grateful. You already seen the fruits of it. Yeah. It already happened. Because I'm saying if things don't happen because you enter with like doubts, and oh, I want this and I want that, but then I think about it. The next day I wake up and I with doubts, and those doubts are gonna generate me to collapse the way where I don't want it to collapse, because I'm coming from doubts. How do you eliminate the doubts? By believing it already happened. If something already happened, if you already went to a beach in the Caribbean in the past, there's no way I can tell you that you didn't go. So the same way that you want something, you have to believe it happened, because if you're thinking, oh, but what if it doesn't, then you just shot yourself in the leg.
Yeah.
The doubts is kind of like, I think that we get the example. If you have a beautiful cake and outside is full of flies, you're not going to open the window. You're not going to open the door, because those flies will find the cake. In this case, the flies are your doubts, and the cake is what you want. So if you open the opportunity or the possibilities to doubt, doubt will manifest. The things that you don't want will manifest.
Exactly.
When you have like zero doubts and 100% certainty that those synchronicities, oh, wow, somebody called me. It was just about that. Oh, I saw a sign about that, And many times what happens is that you see the sign or something happens and you go, okay. No, when that happens, you're like, oh, pay attention. Oh, how was I thinking? And what was I feeling for that to show up in my life?
Totally.
How can I repeat it? And you start fine tuning. Oh, wow, again, oh, yes, that's how things start to show up, So that's the way you start manifesting something, not like just like, oh, yeah, that's weird. And one of the things that I want people to understand is that many times we say, like we have 5 senses. And then once in a while you'll say, oh, there's a 6th sense, right? No, change that language and say, I have this first sense, which is my intuition, my gut feeling, my heart. That's my first sense. And I'm going to listen to it. And relearn how to listen to it. Every morning, I'm going to think about, what is my intuition for today? What is my feeling for today? What is my feeling about this meeting? What is me feeling? What is my gut feeling about this person I'm going to meet? And then use your 5 senses to verify. So use your first sense, not your 6th sense. 6th sense is that, oh, I have a train and I have a red caboose at the end.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. And that's what the media and everybody wants to put it there, in a little caboose. Oh yeah, there's a 6th sense. Oh yeah, sure. No, you have a first sense. That is your intuition, that's your gut feeling, that is your like energy, because you're believing that you're solid. You're not solid, you're just energy.
Yeah, totally. And it's crazy, because I feel like a lot of the times, even when it's like I know what's going to happen, even though I want to believe something else. And it's for example, in the case going back to the dating to the dating scene, I remember sometimes I'm going out with someone and the day could have been over, or like halfway through, or even the next day, and all of a sudden I'm like, it's like I received something and I'm like, it's over. Don't ask me why. It's not like I received the text. It's not like I could be walking home from the date, whatever. Like it's a moment that I get like,
yeah,
like it lights in my head and it says, there's over. There's not going to work out. And once that happens, it's over. It's like, and it's crazy how deep inside, I feel like it always happens to me. But with that guy that I'm telling you that broke my heart too many times, that asshole. I remember thinking, like, I tried everything with that guy, and I was like, no, this is all a dream. I already live with him. I know this. And I wanted to believe it so bad. Of course, nothing. That guy wouldn't show up. But with this guy in particular, as I mentioned, he showed up like for 4 years in a row, or like 5, I don't remember anymore. And every time I thought of him, he would come around.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is it. I can't do this anymore. Done. But he would be there. Like, if I thought about him, all of a sudden he would show up.
Look, if you want somebody, okay, and you want that person to show up in your life, you don't have to call that person. You don't have to. You just, if you really like think about this person, and you like really like think about that person, and you imagine that person, something's gonna happen with that person, it will. And I've done it so many times. So many times. You know what I mean? Like I can just like put it out there, and I don't have to like, oh no, you know what? I need to call this person every 5 minutes. I need to, no. It's kind of, you planted the seed and something will happen. You know what I mean? Something will happen. And that's the same thing in any situation, you know? You need to learn how to let go.
Yeah.
You know? And in this case, you had that intuition. You knew that by thinking or doing this, it was going to show up, and he did show up.
All the time. It was insane until the last time. I was like, I cannot keep calling this guy in my life. I was like, he needs to come because he wants to come. He doesn't, but again, he would come and then destroy my heart.
But at the same time, from what the vibe I'm receiving is that you didn't love yourself that much.
No, back then, no, not at all.
You didn't love yourself that much because you were in the belief that you needed him to be happy.
Yeah, it was crazy because again, I met this guy like 2017 or something like that, and I remember telling my friend, I'm like, oh, I went out with this guy and this, and my friend was like, oh, finally, Mariana, someone that it's like you, and we were both so happy. And then this guy would like disappear. It was crazy. But yeah, I didn't love like I love myself right now. Yeah. Back then. But yeah, I felt like he was the perfect person, and he was so nice. But I mean, I knew from the first time that it happened that it was not going to work out. And he knew it as well. He told me. But again, the fact is that he kept coming back. I kept calling him with my mind. He would show up and I would open the doors and I'm like, yes, what do you want? And we would go out for a little bit, and then the same story over and over again until with the time it ended. Yeah. And I closed everything. I was like, you're not going to follow me on Instagram anymore. Like, remove, because I was like, I need to cut that last little tiny cord, even if it's a tiny little window. I am keeping it open, but once I do this, I am done, because this is what I thought, like, you don't feel it, but it's there. That energy, that line of energy is there. Sure.
Yeah, it's because everything is energy. The thing is that we're believing that you're this human in Canada and I'm this human in Florida. Mm-hmm. Nothing that I don't end where my skin ends. Mm-hmm. This is an illusion, because everything is energy. Yeah. You know? Which is
crazy to believe.
To believe. That's why people can have, like remote healings.
Yeah.
Because everything is energy.
Yeah. Well, it's like, so I finished reading The Secret, and it talks pretty much kind of like that, right? Like how we can ourselves remove things if we think about it, like a disease, a pain. If we put our energy towards that, we can have an effect on it. It could take a few days, it could take a few weeks, but it depends on you and how much do you actually want it, inside and out, mostly inside.
Yeah. And like this book here is also a really good one, Becoming Supernatural.
Okay. Joe Dispenza.
all the books from this guy are really good. No, when we talk about like quantum physics and stuff like that, and energy and all this stuff, these books here, the Bhagavad Gita,
Mm-hmm.
Upanishads,
Mm-hmm.
in like 5,000 years ago, and they talk about quantum physics.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy how many old books talk about that. But again, I guess we were not exposed to it at all. And we're learning about it now.
We're just relearning it.
So last question, why would you think, or like, why do you think it's so important to have this in mind, to be mindful, to know about how energy affect us initially and like to the rest of the world, so people can, after this talk, say, you know what, I want to learn more, I want to see the benefit on it, and just not stay on this talk only.
Wow. If you really knew that we are energy, and that we knew that the secret of the universe are frequencies, vibrations, then we could really understand that our thoughts are that, and our thoughts manipulate this energy. So the more curious you are, and the more you can focus on that, from certainty, from coherence between your thoughts and your feelings, then you'll see your life change.
Okay. Because we can change your life, people. If we want it.
You can empower yourself. The whole message here is you are the only person who can empower yourself. Nobody else. Nobody's going to give you love. Nobody's going to give you anything. You have to empower yourself, and you can create the life that you want whenever you want.
Yeah. And it's like the thing that I saw that I saw on Instagram, that it's kind of like the recommendation. And it's like, when people see that you love yourself so much, they want to love you too, right? They want to be there with you. They're like, oh, I need some, like, more of that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Amazing. I love this talk, Leonardo. I think it was great.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So everyone, thank you for watching the bonus and listening the bonus episode of Leonardo Moran and Mariana. Is Mariana making sense? You gotta decide if this makes sense to you, and follow Leonardo Moran at Leonardo_Física Cuántica. It will be written down below, and you can keep learning about this. Well, the thing is that Leonardo, most of his content, it's in Spanish, but hit him up. You can see that he speaks English, so whatever you need him for, you can.
And remember, if you have any questions, I can answer in English. There's no problem with that. And this bonus episode has been orgasmic.
Orgasmic, yes. We need more orgasms in our lives, not only external. Well, thank you everyone for watching, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.